Well, that's enough uni work done for today. Would be easier if I was in the studio. Oh, hi guys. Sorry for not being too active. Being in lockdown has made my workflow really slow, and I've got a lot of uni deadlines to meet. Luckily, I've got my Nintendo Switch and my favourite game franchise to cheer me up. I've actually had a friend ask me why I like this series so much, and although there are a multitude of reasons, and one of the main reasons is that I love the colourful set of characters that we get to see in the games, and that is why I am doing a top 10 personal favourite characters list of the Mario franchise. Remember, this is only my opinion, so please don't kill me. If you guys have a different top 10, then leave them in the comments. I'd like to see them. No, I'm being serious, I would. It's nice to see what other people think. Okay, enough with the intro, let's get on with the list. Number 10. Donkey Kong. Let's start with the antagonist / hero that started it all. So I know some people would put DK higher than number 10, but in all honesty, to me, he just hasn't got that much of a personality. He's just a typical 8 character who loves bananas, and I've seen that in many other forms of media. That doesn't mean I don't like him though, otherwise he wouldn't be on this list. I think his relationship with his family is heartwarming. I love seeing the Kong family together. It's so sweet. And I also like the sort of rivalry he has with Mario, but I don't think he means Mario any harm. At this point, I'd call them close frenemies. Unlike Cranky over there, since we now know that the original Donkey Kong was actually Cranky. And plus, this cutscene is one of the most heartwarming moments I have ever seen. So while he's a bit of a stereotypical character, to me personally, I still think he's a fun guy to be around. I mean, he wears a groovy tie, how could you not like him? Number 9. Daisy. Oh yes, Diet Peach, I mean Daisy. I'm just kidding, I love this girl. She was the first tomboy character to come out of the franchise. While she is pretty much Peach in a yellow dress, or at least at first, she has branched out into a thrill-seeking, confident gal. I also love the relationship she has with Luigi and Peach. I think she gives them both a nice contrast. She matches Peach with her regality and her enjoyment of more girly stuff, and also is just enough of a tomboy and has more of a spunky personality that Luigi's characteristics stand out better. What I also like about Daisy is that even though she is a bit boastful sometimes and can be a little annoying, I've really never seen her be malicious to anyone, unlike some other characters who have boastful personalities. And also, she flat out smacked Bowser into next week. Consider me impressed. My only issue with her is that I just wish she would be used more often. And I will admit that sometimes she can be a bit too annoying, but it's nothing offensive. So yeah, Nintendo, please use this girl more. Number 8. Bowser Jr. There is so much potential with this character. So, Bowser Jr. has probably one of the more sadder backstories in the franchise. He has no mother, he's constantly trying to make his dad proud, and I think he's trying to be a bit more than his dad before him, considering he's willing to admit when he made a mistake. I also think he can be an interesting villain overall. He did a pretty decent job in Sunshine and Rabbit's Kingdom battle, where while he was evil and he was the antagonist, you can't help but go, he's a kid, he's gonna screw up, so you can't really want to beat him as hard as you'd probably want to beat Bowser. I would also like to see what Nintendo could do with him in the future. As we know, he's willing to team up with Mario whenever he can, mainly when it's more in his interest rather than wanting to do something good. It's also the fact that he's one of the few kid characters we actually have in the franchise. I know we have the Koopalings, but nowadays they're seen more as henchmen, and besides, they're no longer Bowser's. I would also like to see Bowser Jr. interact with the Koopalings a little bit more. I'd love to see what their dynamic is like. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but Bowser Jr. is one of the few characters that I would actually like to see have a redemption. That would be very interesting, but this is Nintendo, so I highly doubt that's going to happen. But hopefully we will get some more games featuring this little guy, and besides, Nintendo could be going down this route, considering Super Mario 3D World Bowser's Fury has shown that he's actually a playable character, or at least a co-op character, but Who knows? Maybe this is what Nintendo's going to do. We'll have to wait and see in the future. Number 7. Dementio. What an awesome villain. He's like Nintendo's version of the Joker, except of being just completely crazy. Okay, not as crazy. Okay, maybe he is. Are you going to let me do this or not? Anyway, one of the things I love about this character is his design. Out of all the characters, he has such a unique design. I love the jester outfit and the combination of yellow and purple. I just think it's really eye-catching and unlike anything we've seen in the franchise beforehand. There is always something more terrifying about villains who dress up and are giving the illusion that they're actually someone who brings joy, but instead brings the total opposite. He's also one of the more evil characters. Unlike Bowser, who just wants to rule a kingdom, this guy wants to destroy the world, really just for the giggles of it. Oh, and also to kill Count Black, I mean, that's also on his agenda. And the fact that he's actually the one responsible for that awesome final boss, you really can't expect me to hate him all that much. It's just unfortunate that we won't see him again. It would be nice if the original Paper Mario villains could make a return. Number 6. Rosalina. So we come to the protector of the galaxy herself, Rosalina. Rosalina is definitely one of the more interesting characters of the series. She has a sad but lovely backstory, and the fact that she pretty much adopted a bunch of star babies makes her instantly likeable. I also like the fact that even though she's one of the characters who have a good amount of backstory, there's still so much we do not know about her. And also, there's a lot of theories, or at least I think, that Rosalina could even be a goddess. I mean, look at this imagery. Looks like a goddess to me. However, it does seem that recently her interesting backstory has been pretty much forgotten, and now she's just become a new avatar to play as. I've always wanted to see her return to her original format, or at least if they don't want her to do that, why don't just make her a mentor? Like, give her a mentor role, like maybe for Mario and the other characters. Like, she'd be the one they go to when they've got a problem. That would make sense to me. At least that's how I would use her. She did this in Galaxy, both 1 and 2, and I would definitely like to see her do it again, where she acts as a mentor and a guide of some sort. A lovely character who can fill a pretty important role, but once again, Nintendo just doesn't want to put in the effort. At least when it comes to stories. Don't take this offensively, Nintendo, your games are great. Okay, now on to the top 5. Number 5, Luigi. Oh, I can see some people being very upset about this. Now, before you start, I love Luigi, okay? I love him. He's a great character. He's clumsy, he's delightful, and he's just full of life, and definitely has the most character development out of all the characters. I love his relationship he has with his brother. And it's so lovely to see him achieve many great things and push his boundaries to become a better person. And I also like it when he just acts like a dork. He's definitely a more real character than anybody else. The only reason he's not higher on the list is because, well, I do have some pet peeves. Sometimes his fear can be a bit one-note, and I also think they forget that he actually does have development, but yet he goes right back to square one when the next game appears. Like the Luigi's Mansion series, for example. I don't expect him to be over his fear of ghosts, absolutely not, but what I do expect is for him to not be as afraid. But nope, he still gets scared stiff. It's like he's just forgotten it. It's like he's forgotten everything he learned in the previous games. But one of the things that has damaged him slightly is surprisingly nothing that Nintendo's done, it's what other people have done, where they've probably given him a bit too much love. Now, don't get me wrong, he deserves it. He really does deserve it. But then it starts overshadowing other characters, and people start to see Luigi as a god and always paint him as this weeaboo who's always in the shadows, when that is hardly ever the case. Half of the time he doesn't even want to go on adventures, he just wants to stay home. In which case Nintendo will say, stuff it, you're going. I do feel sorry for him. But what I do not like is building a character up by putting other characters down. It's one thing I don't like. Now, granted, this isn't his fault, absolutely not, but it does affect other people's view of him, and it has affected my view of him personally. I still think he's a great character. I just think people do need to dial back the whole, oh, he's always in the shadows. Maybe in the early thousands, but not now. He's got a massive fan base. So I think it's about time we stop banging that drum. So yeah, I just think the over-loving has made him a bit less of one of my favourites, but he's still a great character, and I can't wait to see what they do with him next. Number 4. Bowser. And now we come to the big guy, the biggest ham of a villain, King Bowser. Oh boy, this guy is certainly fun. Bowser might be just my favourite villain of all time, and trust me, I do like my villains, so this is saying a lot. The thing that I love most about Bowser is just about how much fun he is. He tries to be evil, and don't get me wrong, he is, but let's be honest, how many times have you gone, oh no, it's Bowser, and oh gosh, here we go again. The humour factor of Bowser makes him so likeable. His personality is just brilliant. He has just enough boastfulness to make him irritating, but not as much as other characters, and unlike those other characters, he actually has some redeeming qualities. I also love the more pimp characteristics he has nowadays. The car, the wedding outfit, all of it just screams, look at me, aren't I amazing, in which other people probably go, no, not really. But hey, he's that deluded that you can't help but roll your eyes and go, oh my god, why? I also like the fact that he also has a bit of a sentimental side. You know, he does genuinely like Peach, even though he clearly can't see that she does not like him back. And I do like the fact that he will help Mario on occasion. He doesn't like Mario at all, and he will only help him if he thinks it will benefit himself, but hey, it still shows that he's willing to put some of his pride away. I said some, not all. He clearly loves his son, and will do anything to keep him safe, and I'm sorry, but I appreciate a good parental figure, especially with villains. I know he's not as badass as some of the other villains that exist, but he's known as the most famous gaming villain for a reason. Plus, he's silly, he's childish, but he is such a pimp, and to me, that's valid. I love it. Number 3. Princess Peach. I don't care what anybody says, she is awesome. I will admit that I do question her ability to defend herself, but she's always super supportive of the other characters, mainly her subjects and, of course, Mario. Just something about her speaks to me. I know that she's a generic damsel in distress at her core, but she's definitely gotten better over the years, and I just enjoy the scenes with her and Mario so much. The first intro I actually got to Peach was through the comics, where I got to see her, well, there's no other way I can say it, actually defending herself and being productive. So when I portray her, I get most of her characteristics from the comics and to a certain extent the TV show, but like I said, considering the quality of them, that isn't saying that much. But I still like her in the games as well. I like the more confident Peach that they show nowadays, rather than just the simple princess who needs help all the time. Even though she still gets kidnapped, just sometimes with the way she acts is just hilarious. But a lot of what I like about her is just her genuine kindness towards everyone that she meets. Even when someone has done something wrong, she's still super forgiving, and she will recognise when they've done something right and will reward them for that. She's always been a great character to me, and I doubt anyone will be able to change my mind. Number 2. Yoshi. Ah yes, the lovable dinosaur. Everyone loves this guy, as do I. From the first moment I saw this dinosaur, I fell in love with him. He was my favourite character for such a long time. That was mainly because when I was younger, I was really into dinosaurs, so I attached to the game series because of that, and especially to this character. I owe Yoshi a lot for letting me into this wonderful series. I will admit that the cartoon did not give this character justice. He's supposed to be Mario's best friend, and yet they make him, well, stupid. But other than that, Yoshi is a fantastic character and is such an easy character to like. So I'm honestly not surprised that he's the one who got me into the franchise in the first place. I honestly think the series would be weaker if he wasn't around. Cute, friendly and loyal, Yoshi is the perfect friend for any hero. So, which character could possibly be better than the character who introduced me into the franchise? Number 1. Mario. Some of you might actually be surprised, and some of you may not. I know that some people say that Mario has not got much to him and therefore is not as enjoyable as a character, but I have to highly disagree. While I do agree that he's not bursting with personality, he still has traits that I find very admirable. He's kind, courageous, determined, loyal, tolerant of others' differences, and so many other positive traits that I can't possibly list. Which is to not say that he's flawless. He can be impulsive, easily distracted, can be prone to temper tantrums, but luckily it's all done in a more comedic way. But they're definitely there, so I don't agree with people when they say, oh, he's got nothing to work on. He does. Personal space being one of them, and also learning when not to do certain things. But I think the main reason he's my favourite is just because of how happy he is, and how, even though he does have bad days, and it also doesn't make him bitter towards other people. As someone who has seen so many people get hurt or have bad days and become more bitter to the world, this, to me, is just the sign of a very strong human being. And also, for someone who has depression and finds it very difficult to see on the bright side of life, I appreciate Mario for encouraging me to do that. Something about his pleasant hello or how are you, it just resonates with me, personally. He's also a very protective and loyal brother, which is something that I can heavily relate to being an older sibling myself. Do I wish that he could have better personality in the game and that Nintendo will explore his issues further? Of course. But at the same time, I don't really think it matters. He's perfect the way he is. He only needs minor adjustments. So with that, I think Mario will always be my favourite. Just a happy, upbeat character who will always look on the bright side of life. Being the only character that has ever had a strong impact on how I live my life, Mario is and always will be my favourite character of not only the series, but in gaming in general. So, that's my top 10 characters of the Super Mario franchise. And now, what about you guys? Who are your top 10 Mario characters? Please leave them in the comments. I would love to read them and see what your opinions are. As always, I am Asa Clawshaw and I'll see you next time. Bye!